I see somebody eating like, an apple fritter with some, creme brulee or something. I'm like, oh, well, now I'm relaxed. That's nice and, comforting as opposed to some fucking idiot 18-year-old freshman dropping a pass that just cost me, $5,000. So, yeah, that's a little, a little easier to take, seeing somebody eating some comfort food.
Come on, let's go!
You think I'm gonna come on here and put one of the Aussies in the elite tier?
I'd vote for Rob of 25,000. I wouldn't vote for you.
I can basically just cheat and get the same bets that they're getting. And
it's weird because you can also pay your bills at the same place where you bet.
I mean, you're a short guy. What? This guy talks a lot of trash. He's talked a lot of trash about me, Rob, a lot of people in the community, but he's refusing to show his face.
Touting yourself as a pretty good NFL gambler. I thought you were an idiot.
Say testing, I'm a cuck. 1, 2, 3, 4.
The Aussies, going head-to-head with the Aussies. That's what I drew for, and I said, get him, Kirk.
And they call me a mean-spirited name. I don't hang out with them.
The Toronto Maple Leafs at 14-1, staring me dead in the face.
I'm already getting, a lot of early. This could be the best Circles Off episode that's ever been done.
Welcome to Circles Off, episode number 170, right here, part of the Hammer Betting Network, and presented by Pinnacle Sportsbook. I'm Rob Pizzola, getting geared up for football season, NFL season, I should say, as we had college football start a few weeks back. CFL going on for a long time. Johnny's not in studio today, which means we get a special episode. He is part of the pair on Hit the Books on YouTube. If you haven't checked that out, make sure you subscribe to Hit the Books. Just short of 5K subs right now, so put them over the top. It's Uncle K, Joey Knish. How's it going?
I mean, it feels good to be on, especially after we set a live viewer Hammer record this week. The flagship leader of the number one show on the Hammer Network, Joey K here, talking to, and excited for, well, when this comes out, Forward Progress will already have had their debut episode. So good to be, the number 1 and 2 shows here on the network, and, gonna chop it up this week.
On Forward Progress this year, we've decided to use Hitman a little bit more sparingly to try to boost the numbers. I think a little too much Hitman last year. Although, you know what? When you have a season as bad as he did, sometimes people tune in just for that because the fade opportunity is there, right? Like, you don't want a guy that goes 500.
You got the fade opportunity and the streak. I mean, just the streak in general, it was tremendous. Of like how many weeks in a row can you go here? I mean, it's like the old WCW, Goldberg, where you get 150 matches in a row or something like that, where you're like, how many bets in this row can this guy give out and lose, on the Forward Progress? So yeah, that was special last year.
That old Goldberg streak, I don't know if we're dating ourselves here, but I was a huge wrestling fan during that time. Goldberg went from like 10 wins to 100 wins in like 2 weeks. I don't know who he was fighting or where these matches were happening. I don't know if he fought like 10 people per house show, but they really built that up. And so for a guy who couldn't wrestle either, by the way, like no one wanted to wrestle this guy, absolute jobber, dropping people on their necks, like injuring everyone. And they decided they want to elevate this guy. I don't know the story behind that, but I do remember that very clearly. Goldberg.
Me too. Yeah, that was in like the prime of my wrestling fandom. And it was like, once that streak ended, it was almost like the end of WCW. That was like kind of the last shtick they had going. And like a year or two later, they were out of business, and WWE, WWF kind of consolidated and took back over.
Well, I was going to segue into being at the top and Pinnacle Sportsbook. And then you said, then they went out of business like 1 to 2 years later. We're not wishing that for our friends at Pinnacle Sportsbook. They're the world's sharpest sportsbook, available to bettors in Ontario. We often preach line shopping here on Circles Off. Knish does it as well on Hit the Books. It's one of the most critical aspects of betting. I'd never consider betting without Pinnacle as one of my sportsbook accounts because they have everyday competitive odds. So bet smart, bet Pinnacle, your trusted sportsbook for the past 25 years. If you do sign up to Pinnacle in Canada, use code HAMMER, as it does support us here at the Hammer Betting Network, so we can get some nice stuff. New studio we're building as well, coming up for football season. You must be 19 plus, available in Ontario, not available in the U.S. And as always, please play responsibly. For today's episode, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say one thing that I've had.
You got like a number 72 from 1906 or something that you wanted to plug?
It's 70. We're off the rails here. It's 70. We're not doing the numbers anymore. That's not the shtick anymore.
I'm surprised that didn't stick as a great segment.
I know you're saying that sarcastically. People didn't drop off. Here's the thing. I don't listen to a ton of podcasts, but I listen to some. And if I hear something that I don't like, or it's going down an avenue that I don't care about, I fast forward. I skip. No one was doing that during the jersey numbers, but we're getting a lot of negative feedback. It's very hard to evaluate when no one's skipping the segment, but yeah, maybe we kept that going for a little bit too long. I think we kept that going for a little bit too long.
Well, thankfully, there's only so many you go 0 to 99, and there's only so many numbers.
Well said. There's only so many numbers. Yes. Just really quickly want to say something before we get into this week's episode. So we have a lot of guests here on Circles Off. Over half of the episodes we have are guest episodes. And people ask all the time, oh, do you vet your guests? Do you do this? You do that? We try to as much as possible. I don't want to give a platform to people who are going to, openly try to scam. And if they are, I'm gonna ask them questions that hopefully, reveal themselves as what they actually are. When you're working with other people in the betting space, whether that's giving accounts, getting accounts, finding originators, whatever you might be doing, do your own due diligence, please. Just because we've had someone on Circles Off before doesn't mean they should be validated in the betting space and like all of a sudden they're, approved. And also, things change in the betting space. People go broke. It happens. People bust out. You can't just trust someone because we've done a previous episode. So I did want to put that out there because some people do DM me every now and then like, oh, I saw this guy on your show. I'm working with him now. I'm not saying don't work with people that we've had on, but do your own due diligence because I don't want to lead people down the wrong path or anything like that. And things change in the sports betting industry as well. So just a little disclaimer there, Uncle K, because
I hear you. And some very, very smart people over the years that ended up at one point or another going bust or going, and it wasn't because they were stupid or didn't have an edge. It was usually a number of other things that plays in the factor. This is impromptu, off the cuff. What are you got a few telltale signs of when there's someone you're betting partnership, account partnership with, of when there's an issue, kind of a red flag, we'll call it?
I'll say there's a couple things that stand out to me right away. One is when somebody owes you money, but they ask you to collect it from someone else. That's always I don't want to do that. I'm dealing with you. Don't send me to a couple other people. You collect from them, but you pay me. That to me is the first and foremost. That's more of that doesn't necessarily mean someone's broke or sometimes they just want to do it out of
It's annoying.
It's annoying.
And it's definitely, one, it's a sign. Two, it's also annoying.
The biggest thing for me is when someone has a change in behavior.
Yeah.
Which you can tell, if someone always pays you on X day of the week, no questions asked, and then all of a sudden they're not responding to you, or they're give me a couple days to get this sorted, usually that's a red flag right away. Change in behavior. So those are the two things that stand out to me. I mean, there's way more than that. It's, it's a pretty shady industry, but I don't like having to collect from some random person that I've never interacted with before. And I also I can pick up when someone is acting a little differently, even if it's over just a Telegram message or something like that. How about you?
Yeah, no, there's it's funny because you mentioned Telegram. I always like people that have their last seen on versus last seen recently on Telegram. That's one I tweeted out long ago, but I not that I need to know your whereabouts all the time, but the last thing is you can see someone is being active. If you're in the business, you're going to be active every day, unless I'm on a vacation or something. If you have someone that either hasn't been seen in a while or has the recently is always a little bit of an inquisitive for me, just as one a small thing. also, as you're saying, yes, the how fast you're responding, how typical does that, how many different method, like is someone usually, you can know if someone's good if they're able, like full balance, depending on the figure, like first, if you're piecemealing together, like I need, 200 from here, or 500 from here, can I send you this, type of weird, that's always a little bit of a clue too. I don't love either, and this is what, if someone, this is maybe a little in the weeds, someone's betting their own plays and like accounts they've given me, or like is like playing a little bit of casino. That's usually an issue. Like that's someone needs a little bit too much action at that point if they're having to bet their own stuff on top of the stuff we're already playing into the account.
It also just sucks for accounting and record keeping purposes.
Yes.
There's always like the guy like, oh, this play wasn't mine. And then they figure out, yeah, it was their $100 parlay that they put in or whatever.
Yeah.
It's that also really, really bothers me. But it is football season, and we had this come via email. You can always email us, circlesoff@thehammer.bet. You can also DM us on Twitter. If you're not following us on Twitter, or X, sorry, @CirclesOffHQ, please do that. Really helps us grow our brand as well. But you can reach out to us at any time. And Kyle did a couple months ago, was the last time we did a Q&A. And we didn't include it in the Q&A because we thought, hey, maybe we can turn this into a full episode or a longer piece of content at some point. But his email said, it would be nice if you guys could go through your weekly schedules for football season. Specifically, when do you handicap? When do you bet? Do you set aside time for personal stuff? Really curious to know how much different an expert bettor's schedule is from my own. And I kind of like that idea of kind of running through what our football seasons look like. Both me and you, Knish, I would say I'd even put myself in the category of semi-pro now, just because I spend more time on the hammer than I do on betting. You've made it very well known that you have a day job as well, which somehow you got promoted recently. I don't know how that happens, considering
it's Biden's economy.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if anyone knows where Knish works and they want to short the company, I would probably suggest that that's a decent idea right now, as he's working his way up the corporate ladder. But let's do this. Let's just do this exercise, because I think it's interesting for people out there. So let's start with a Sunday. And Knish is predominantly a college football bettor, but he does bet other stuff as well. I'm predominantly an NFL bettor, so Sundays are pretty hectic for me. But Sunday morning, Knish, you're coming fresh off college football Saturday. NFL's on the horizon for you. What is your Sunday looking like? Is it NFL focused for you, or are you waiting for those openers to come for college football games? Like, how quickly are you betting? Walk me through a Sunday during football season.
So first thing, like, it's funny because I used to, during COVID, I would stay up, very, very late. Now, I've had a bit of a schedule change where I'm kind of going to bed earlier, waking up much earlier. But how recent was that change? Because we called you on Thanksgiving last year and you for a pick, and you were still it's
in
within
bed.
the last year. Yeah,
okay,
I know. Unfortunately, it's pretty recent because Joey Corporate had to even go back to the office in a few days a week. So yeah, it's now I'm a early morning schmuck. But no, so Sunday usually starts out I'm up around 7:30. The first thing I'll do is do like a complete like box score review, especially of the games that I might not, like if I'm going to bed, 10:30, 11, there's a number of games that finished after, check the scores, check the figures, check the boxes, like all the thing to find out. Cause I may not be doing like peak origination, but I want to be able to give informed college football opinion. So it's also checking where a lot of the lines close the day before, checking, the box scores on that. And even now, our partner on Hit the Books, FanDuel, our show partner there, in some cases, they'll have games up already. So, like, I'll give it this Sunday, I woke up to a number of texts from people already looking to get down on some stuff. So it might be me trying to even first thing in the morning fill, some smaller orders on that type of stuff. That would be that's the first couple hours, and I would say that's kind of like a 8 a.m. to maybe 10 a.m. Then I would say the next is if I'm going to try like walk the dog, I'll maybe take half hour, walk the dog, do something to kind of try and like get a little bit of outside of off of the phone, off of the screen for a minute. And then it's really gearing into Circa opens at what would be around 1:30 Eastern this time.
Mm-hmm.
So for the most part, NFL is, I might look before. Most of my NFL positions are either, if I'm looking for maybe, do I want to have like a quarter unit middle, a half unit middle or something? That's most of my, I usually build a big position, then middle some back on like right before if I'm going to do something just NFL centric. Review the board from that like hour before NFL leads up, see if I want to, buy off any positions, take some, I'll shave some off, something like that. Then for the most part, I'll have red zone in the background, but I'm really prepping for that Circa release. And now, that's usually 1:30 or 2 p.m. And then the number of other books follow within the hour or two after that. So I'll have red zone on, be kind of, be checking that out. Watching it, casually. If there's a Lions game on, might have, a double screen up, have the Lions have one thing. But most of the day kind of is then spent getting ready for the college football, like opening line week, and then getting whatever liquidity I can on that opener stuff to get in on Sunday. And that takes me through what I would call the late afternoon. And then I'll try and kind of like unplug past, I don't know, call it 6 o'clock once everybody, and then, enjoy like a Sunday night game or something.
So if the Lions have like a 1 p.m. Local start, Eastern, you might actually not catch most of your favorite team if you're reacting to those openers at that time.
There's definitely like a good hour where I'll have to be like locked. I might have it on the TV, but I can't be locked in on it. So it'll be something where I might go back and like, I'll always have it recorded or something. I'm like, if it's of intrigue, like I missed something, I'll go back and watch. If not, catch the highlights or something. But yeah, that's kind of the sacrifice you make. Or is also, I know a number of people, like, I don't know how much NFL live betting you do, but it also kind of takes away the live betting opportunity I have from a Sunday perspective of on NFL. And I do so much, like college. Saturday is so hectic that I need a little bit of that like structured day, routine day on Sunday that I kind of know what I'm doing, as opposed to like being, locked in just like, screen chasing or live betting or any of that. So it's a little bit more structured Sunday, a little bit more chaotic Saturday.
All right. Sunday for me is quite different because, and especially very different from what a recreational bettor's Sunday might look like. Like what my friends do on Sunday, they're getting up early in the morning. They're turning on, NFL Network, ESPN. They're getting ready to fire all the bets that they're going to fire for the week on Sunday. Right. By this point on Sunday, when I wake up, like it's extremely unlikely I'm going to play a major market side or total on Sunday. And for those that don't know why, I mean, candidly, I don't really have an ego when it comes to betting the NFL. I do this to make money. I know that Pinnacle on Sunday mornings is taking quite a pop. And I don't really need to bet into markets that I think are super efficient at that point. With that said, sometimes you get some breaking news on Sunday mornings, and that's going to affect the point spread. And if you can get down on that right away, that's worth it. But I don't want to bet into the largest limits of the week. So I'm usually up around 9 a.m. on a Sunday. Earlier in the year, first few weeks of the season, it's probably earlier than that. As the year goes on, the grind becomes harder for me, and it makes it more challenging for me to get up early in the morning. So maybe by end of season, it's like 9:30, 10 o'clock, because I'm like, the alarm hits, and it's like another week of getting up. And most of that time, I'm actually using to prep for content. I do the pizza buffet 11 to 12 on the Forward Progress YouTube channel every single week. And I'm just making sure that I'm like up to date on what might have happened on Saturday night with line moves, Sunday morning. Honestly, I'm a content guy on Sunday morning, all the way up until 12 o'clock. I've chosen that for myself. I really enjoy it, honestly. There's a pretty good group of people that joins me every Sunday morning. I like it, but I don't want to lie and be like, I'm doing all this betting stuff on Sunday mornings, because I'm not. Now, as soon as I log off of Pizza Buffet, 12-1, I'm going ham on betting props, top-down approach. So right now I'm using the BetStamp Pro tool that was in beta for a long time, and now is going to be widely available. More details are coming on that in the next few weeks. But I'm finding off-market numbers wherever I can. I'm trying to bet as much volume as I possibly can at that time. And literally, I'm going right up until game time, like till 12:58. I give myself 2 minutes to run down in the basement and turn on Red Zone. That's it. I don't eat lunch at that time. I eat lunch at the start of the 1 o'clock games. But 1 to like 4:30, the early games, that is pure enjoyment for me. That's where, and I say pure enjoyment, it's oftentimes not enjoyment if you've ever seen the witching hour on Red Zone. But I like to just watch the games as a fan. And this is like the biggest grief I get from other people. There's all these live betting edges that you can have. And, life is short. Might as well enjoy some of your time. I love watching the early slate, NFL, not even looking at live lines, not live trading, anything like that, on a couch, at home, in comfort, order a pizza, do whatever I'm going to do. That, to me, is the absolute best 3 to 4 hours of every single week, 1 to 4:30. Once the early games end, depends on my mood of how those went, but things could go very differently for the late games. Usually, I will head to my office upstairs, and what I start to do is the exact same thing that Knish does maybe on the Sunday morning. I'll review all the box scores of the early games, just so that I kind of am prepped and understand what transpired in those early games. Because when you're watching on Red Zone, you're only capable of watching so much. You get the key plays. You might not get the gist of the entire game. So I want to know what I'm talking about later on at night, and I want to be as immersed in the league as possible. So I'll have Red Zone up on my TV, but I'm kind of distracted, and I'm watching a lot of I'm reviewing the box scores from the early games and stuff like that. So that happens 8 o'clock at night. I got my Sunday Night Football live watch along. I sit at my desk. I watch the game. People watch me watch the game, which sounds insane, honestly. Like, imagine it when I was young. It's like, yeah, one day people are going to watch me watch an NFL game. But that's what happens. I roll through the openers as they come in. I don't bet them, but I give my opinions on them. And these are purely based off of gut feel, what I think numbers should be. I don't have any model numbers available to me. But that's it. That's my Sunday. It's pure chaos. It's pure NFL chaos from 9 a.m. till midnight when that Sunday night game ends. As soon as that Sunday night game ends, I'm actually still so wired that I can't sleep right away. Sometimes I'll go for a run right afterwards. Sometimes I'll just review some more box scores and stuff like that. But it is truly a 9 to 12, 15-hour day for me from start to finish with pretty much no break. Chaos.
That, it's funny because you said that, like, I have to actively make a choice to, like, step away on that Saturday night now, or the same thing. Like, there would be times where if I'm going to, I'm sweating these, like, Pac-12 after dark, or, rest in peace, Pac-12, of, like, and then it's, it would go to, like, 1, 2 in the morning. And as you said, like, you got action on these games. You can't just, like, oh, well, now I'm relaxed and gonna go to bed. No, I'm fried. My phrase is frazzled. Like, I'm gonna go, like, have a walk and, like, drink like a cold water or something here just to, like, calm down. So yeah, that was like, I usually will try and take like 30 minutes before I'm actually gonna, like, plan to be sleeping, and I'll put on some, like, mindless, like, HGTV, Food Net, something that gets me out, because I can't just go from, like, watching into, like, sweating a game to then, like, oh, well, I'm gonna go. I never understand. It's like the people that fall asleep on airplanes, or like the people that can just, like, boom, like, fall, like, like, oh, like my dad, like, he puts his head back and he's sleeping. that ain't me. So like I have to have like a wind down and a routine that if I'm watching games, I can't do it.
Yep, little Property Brothers, maybe some Bobby Flay, you know?
Yep, yeah, or diners, drive-ins, and dives. Give me a little Guy Fieri. Yeah, like I want, that's when I need to like be like, oh, all right, I see somebody eating like an apple fritter with some creme brulee or something. I'm like, oh well, now I'm relaxed. That's nice and comforting, as opposed to some fucking idiot 18-year-old freshman dropping a pass that just cost me $5,000. So yeah, that's a little easier to take. Seeing somebody eating some comfort food.
Yeah, I don't know how you do that. Honestly, that gets me even more. Like I just get food cravings then, and I want to go out and like hit a McDonald's drive-through or something like that. Yeah. I can't do that. I don't know. Yeah, it's tough for me to it's tough for me to come down off of that day. You would figure like, oh, it's such a long day, you'd be exhausted by then. I don't know. It doesn't happen for me. So I'm usually up pretty late on Sundays, but I try to make the time that I'm up valuable. Like if I'm up another hour or two, like I said, I might go for a run, exercise. If not, and I'm still at my desk, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing stuff to prep for the week for NFL. That's like just some, without getting into too much detail, starting to get things set up for the upcoming week so I'm ready to go on Monday and Tuesday from a betting perspective. If I wasn't in the position that I'm in now, which is frankly just like being a good bettor, I probably would devote my Sunday nights to hitting the openers. I think there's a lot of value in doing that and just kind of waiting for things to pop up, get some of the early numbers out of the way. There's some pretty substantial moves on Sunday night on those openers in a lot of cases. So that's likely what I would do. And I think that for a lot of people who are out there, that they don't really have like a process for NFL, I would encourage you to probably bet on Sunday night for the upcoming week. I know some people are like, well, what happens? Injuries this, injuries that. I mean, sometimes injuries work in your favor. Sometimes they work against you. Like it balances out in the long run. So that's my Sunday. Monday for you, Knish. What's going on? I mean, you going to work in the morning? Is it a work from home day? How does that work out for you?
So Monday I work from home. It's usually I start out and I'll try and get like, as soon as I wake up, I've been trying to like just get out of bed and like go for a swim, go for like a run, do some type of physical activity. Cause that's when like I'm my most yiked out, is like right getting out of bed. Like that's when I'm the most like, have the most energy. I'm, a little kind of spazzed out just to be as a natural personality. So I need to get like, and I'll look at my phone to see if I have like any emails, Telegram, DMs, any of that stuff to check. And then do something physical to kind of get that out. Then the day, it's nice because Monday being a work from home day where like I'll obviously have a lot of, whatever the corporate responsibilities that I have or meetings, but also the moving for, if I've been able to like, there's some services that release on Monday that, I'll be taking part in those releases, watching the board too, just to kind of always have a screen up to see kind of what's moving. Do I know who's moving it and that? And then that kind of, usually I almost always end up at a casino or two on almost what would be a daily basis during the weekday. So that's usually I will center my run up around like how my timing works, when the workday ends, that type of thing, when when a meeting on or something. So it'll be anywhere between 4 and usually 7 p.m. And obviously we have the Hit the Book show on at 5. So I gotta do.
Well, for you at like 5:10, right?
Depending on 50, 508, 50. For Zach and Brad, it's 5. For 4:55. For me, it's a flexible, but. So I got to work my way around that run, and also make sure that like, I've usually done. I won't say we don't do like pre-show meeting or any of that, but I'll come in with like making sure I know all about like a little bit of review. Maybe there's a big game I wasn't able to actually watch too much of. We'll watch like highlights or something like that, and so. The casino run for the kiosking or the counter will be either at 4 or at like 6:30 with Hit the Books in between there. And that's not just college football. That's some of the other stuff. Like right now, like I'll give you an example. last week, Friday was it was some last minute college football, some college football props, some WNBA for the weekend, some motorsports for the weekend. And so it's not just like college football. I can't that like there's other people that I'm working with that want their fill for their sports. So we'll have to go down. I usually try and do that in the first part of the evening and then get home. And during a football season, like usually those I love the night games because I can just kind of like, as you're saying with them, like I will just, especially on a Monday Night Football or something, I'll just get home at like 7:30, eat something, and then just kind of casually take in that as a fan. Where like the night games are one where like I'm trying, especially those standalone, actually just enjoy the game and not be doing anything like too insane or going crazy with it or any of that, and enjoy. If you guys got, if we got a watch along or something, I'll tune in for that on the Monday night halftime, just to, maybe throw some trolling around or that, or just see what's going on in that. But that's kind of pretty much the schedule. Again, very routine orientated, like where everything's pretty set in stone. I'm kind of bouncing thing to thing on a Monday.
This is going to be a very weird year for me for Monday. So ordinarily, every Monday in the past, I would call it film day, where I actually go back and watch a lot of the Sunday games in full, especially ones where the box score might not have matched the final score. I do like to watch a lot of football, and there are some people who are like, watching the games is a waste of time. I very much disagree with that. I think watching football, if you can, for some people, it can be a detriment. I think a lot of people can get they develop biases, and I think if you're more open-minded, it's a little bit easier. But Monday typically would be a film day for me. It's not going to be this year. You can call me corporate pizza man this year as well. But I got a lot of work stuff on Mondays. I lead a stand-up for the Hammer on Monday mornings, 9 a.m. Got to make sure Zach, producer Jason, Moretto, got to keep these guys in line. Make sure they know what they're doing for the week. No one's messing around. Got to have the same vision for everyone. So we run through that meeting. Then I basically have to drive downtown from my house, 45 minutes from my residential neighborhood to our office in downtown Toronto, a couple blocks from the Rogers Center. And we got some new content that we're recording this year for Circles Off, which we record on Mondays at noon. And one editor's got to go around and chop it up, turn it around in a day, get it out on Tuesday mornings. So we're recording that on noon. I'm very excited about that. I don't actually want to, other than just teasing that we're going to have some new content, I don't really want to spoil it, but I think it's going to be a big hit. I really do think that this is a gap in market that we're going to be servicing. So we got to record that. Then I got to record Circles Off right afterwards, which is going to be cut up by Zach, released on Thursday, but we're recording that on Mondays. That's a lot of recording in a day. In between those, I do have other commitments. I have to film Pinnacle educational videos. I have to film promotional stuff. I do like to watch Hit the Books at 5. I hate to say it, but I actually do find the show very entertaining. So that's in the schedule as well. I have a live watch along that I'm doing from the office here on Mondays, 8 to 12. That hour leading up to the live watch along, there's a lot of prep work. I'm betting a lot of top-down props. I'm getting ready to bet props that I'm going to give out on the show as well. It's another chaotic day. So I'm going to lose the film day this year. But at this point in life, I've obviously am doing a lot of content. I think that it's the best decision for me in terms of growing my net worth and value, because I think what we're doing is very different and I want to lean into it. So Mondays it's absolute chaos once again. I don't know when my meals are going to come on this day.
I don't think people realize, and I did not realize this until I filled in for on You Better You Bet, or during the early days of You Better You Bet, filled in as a guest host sometimes, how much 3 or 4 hours of content can take out of you. It sounds kind of ridiculous if you've never done it. It's oh, you're just talking sports. It's not you got to be locked. It's not this casual conversation where you could be quiet for 30 minutes and then chime in or something, or be, you know, a little disengaged or on your phone. It's like, no. You've got to be locked in, like literally talking with, like, bringing up points and bringing up data and kind of racking your brain and engaged for like hours on end, which is quite mentally draining if you've never done. Like I would get off those You Better You Bet shows and be like, oh my God, like I just want to like lay on the couch right now. Like I'm smoked. It's more than you'd think. Not, and again, if you're out there, like, you know, I don't know, working in, you're working on an oil rig or something, you're probably like, oh, these fucking, you know, the two pussies, you know, talking about how hard, talking about, how hard talking sports content, is. Yeah. Like, the white collar over here. But it is, I mean, it's not for everybody. I could say that. Like, it's a hard. I mean, that's why I respected like Nick and Ken for doing like 4 hours a day or that type of show every day is a grind.
Last year when I did the Super Bowl prop show, I did 5 hours straight live.
Yeah,
that feels like 24 hours. Like you get to the halfway point, and you're like, I don't think I could do this half. How am I going to get out of doing the rest of this? It's challenging. I think part of it is it depends on the person. People who've never done content before, my desire is to create good content, right? And I think that there's some preparation that's involved in creating good content. I could show up any given week and do a Circles Off episode off the top of my head. Wouldn't be very good. I could go show up, do a forward progress, 1 hour, market breakdown of what's going on in the NFL. I could probably do it well, but there's ways to do it better. And I think that I'm just very invested in doing content, quote unquote, the right way. And when you do that, it does take a lot out of you because there's a lot of prep. The show itself, there's a lot of that. But my Tuesday becomes pretty easy, or a lot easier, I would say. Sunday, Monday, back to back is start to finish, go. Tuesday's easier. What's your Tuesday look like?
Tuesday. So now Tuesdays, I'm in office Tuesday, mostly Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And that is, because we were out of office for like working from home for a long, like years, like multiple, like it was about 4 years. And so about 7 or 8 months ago now, we've been back to a hybrid schedule. And that is challenging. It's not challenging from the aspect of like, but where I'm still having to, answer messages. And if people want to get in, maybe making sure we're getting down for them, along with, in-person meetings, and just the more socialization that comes with being, in a corporate environment. And that, again, it's like I said, a white collar job. So it's not like I got multiple screens at my desk. So it's not like they're, can't maintain what's going on, like, I think if you're if you work at a restaurant, or if you're a mechanic or something where you like, there's those jobs where you can't be on your phone or look at a computer for 6, 7, 8 hours or more straight. You can never do this. Thankfully, I a position where I'm on my phone or the screen all the time anyway. But it's a lot of interaction mixed with having to be checking your phone. And then so I'll usually sometimes I'll take my lunch hour and go on like a kiosk or a run to get down almost every day after work, like when I'm leaving the office, because I work downtown, the casinos are downtown, so I'm stopping at 1 or 2 or 3 after work to get some fills then, and then usually getting home roughly 6 o'clock in that, getting a little bit to eat. And then
you don't use your casino comps to get the steak and lobster at the local casinos?
Unfortunately, there's a couple of that I no longer get comps at most of the. So if you're, I understand, if you're a slot AP guy, you're racking it up. You probably haven't paid for a meal in years. Unfortunately, the sports betting, the AP sports betting is not, they don't let you have to run the comps up too much. So no, unfortunately, I'm usually getting something there around 6. I'll come home, go take the dog for a long walk, and then kind of chill into the evening. And if I have any, that's when I'm usually trying to get back to, if people have gotten me and wanted to like have a longer conversation during the day that couldn't be just answered by a text or a DM or something like that. That's when I'll kind of go through all that and try and clear off anything that might take a phone call or that type of thing.
Got it. My Tuesdays, much more relaxed. This is the first time that I'm going to put together a number for the week. So first thing I'm going to do in the morning is I'm going to run my numbers on all the games for the upcoming NFL week. It's pretty late for some people, and again, I would advise you to do this process earlier if you can. Our group doesn't really bet. The majority of our bets are Wednesday through Friday over the course of the week. Sometimes on Tuesday, if we think that like a number is going to go and it's not going to come back at a certain point, we'll bet it out on Tuesday as well. But first thing I'm going to do Tuesday mornings is run my model. Now, could be if you're out there, you might spend that time handicapping or whatever. For me, it's a very mindless process. Click a button, numbers get output. Then I'm going to do a first pass through them and take a quick look and be like, well, you know what? This one obviously doesn't make sense. Something's going on there. Sometimes you got to do some troubleshooting. But that's going to be the numbers portion of the morning. 10 a.m., I have a weekly meeting with my betting group, and that's where we all share our opinions with one another on the games. We kind of talk through, literally go rotation number order. We talk it through. Sometimes one guy might be really adamant about something and the rest of the group is neutral. Sometimes people go head to head and they disagree. And sometimes we'll actually bet against each other within the same group. It actually does happen every now and then. But we talk through the entire board and we come up with a game plan, which is we're looking to bet this. This is the price we're going to get. We like this side, but it's not quite the price that we want right now. So let's set a line alert for the price that we would need to bet it. And we work through every single one of those. And it's basically a plan of attack for the week. And that's going to get messed up fairly quickly every single week because people bet into the Tuesday market, lines move. But we like to have a general plan of attack going through that. I'm also going to consume a ton of content on Tuesday. Anything that was produced on Monday from anyone I respect, or honestly, even if I don't respect them, but they might have a good show, entertaining, might have some like random valuable tidbits in a podcast as well. I do consume a lot of that stuff just because it gives me something to do over the course of Tuesday afternoon. But for the most part, Tuesday afternoon, we're going to figure out if we want to bet something. We're going to monitor the market. There's a lot of substantial releases on Monday, Tuesday, Right Angle Sports, Joey Tunes, Telegram, Cleve TA, Hitman, all this stuff moves market in some way or another. So just kind of assembling all that information, figuring out why stuff moved. And that's really it for the Tuesdays. It's a nice, relaxed day. Might play some Twilight golf as well, if I can, until those winters come around, and then that's off the table. But really just at my desk for as much as I can be at, and then relax for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, it's funny. No, that was a good mention because I do the same thing. I'm not really looking to consume content for picks per se, but there are some college football shows that I'll listen to exactly for the same thing, for pieces of information, and get those in when I can, whether it be when I'm driving on the work or like if I have an hour where I'm just working on a spreadsheet or something, have the earbuds in and try and consume the content. Then trying to figure out any other like information I can get for the week that comes from some other sources that I could pick up on. I agree. It is kind of something that there's a few key. It's not a ton, but a few kind of traditional pieces that I'll listen to that feels kind of keeps me as up on the happenings as possible.
Early on in the season, it's very important for me to do like some sort of profiling, so to speak. When is this person going to typically be releasing plays? Are they typically on the same sides or totals? Is there a team? Do I agree with them or am I regularly opposed to them? Like all of that information, in my opinion, needs to be processed at the scale that I'm at. And if you're not doing that, you could probably still win, but I would believe that you're leaving money on the table, right?
Yep.
There's situations where I know with certainty that another respected bettor is going to be opposite me. So I could wait for them to bet into market. I could reach out to them directly and be like, hey, listen, we like opposite sides of this game. Let's just take the midpoint price and we'll have a bet with one another. Instead, a lot of that would happen on Tuesday afternoon. But then we get into Wednesday, and that becomes like, that's the media circus day for me, Knish.
It's funny because Wednesday it's funny, like I would say a little bit more like your Tuesday, where a lot of the college football stuff it's heavily moving Monday and Tuesday. Then there's a bit of a lull sometime on that Wednesday, Thursday before the biggest syndicates come in on a Friday or a Saturday morning type of thing. So my Wednesday's typically a bit more relaxed from a betting standpoint. I would say a lot of the positions that I'm getting down for people are filled by Wednesday evening. There'll be some, adders, at least FBS stuff as it goes on. But for the most part, it's pretty tied up by Wednesday. And that's usually the day if I have to be at a different location for work. That Wednesday is the day. It's a day I schedule, a ton of meetings as well. If I need to meet with somebody for that week, it's got the meeting. It's usually by my most meeting day. So definitely a more lean on the corporate side of things day, but almost always still will have some daily stuff, whether it be, WNBA or, if it's depending on the season, some other stuff outside of football that I got to go fill and get a piece of after the day runs up. So, but Wednesday's a little bit more relaxed, but not. It's definitely not a.
It's not quiet.
There's really during the I would say there's almost no day during the midst of football season where it's like a summer day, like a few weeks ago, it might be like, where Saturday I might just be, laying outside for a few hours, getting the sun. There's no day like that. Like I'm going in with the consciousness, that for like the next 3 months, there really won't be a, quote unquote, chill, relaxed, all, lounge day.
Yep. I'm with you. Like I literally put this in my calendar. Maybe I'll actually share a picture of my calendar. We can insert this afterwards, Zach, but I book out 9 to 10 a.m. on Wednesday for exercise. Like I actually have to slot it into my calendar because if I don't, I'll either sleep in or I will wake up and I will be like, I got to get to something else right away.
Yeah.
And it won't happen. So I put that in there. But Wednesday, I do Forward Progress Best Bets, 3:00 in the afternoon. Soon as I'm done that show, I record with Suma, which is a Thursday night football preview. Soon as I'm done that, I record a show that goes on Mayo Media Network with Pat Mayo and Cam Stewart, which is more of like an entertaining show, so the time goes by like that. But I do You Bet or You Bet, or I'm planning to this year on Wednesdays as well. I do Miami Radio with Mark Hochman and Channing Crowder. So like between 3 and like 8 o'clock, it's all media. And I have to use that gap before there, usually like 10:30 to 2 o'clock, to do all my content prep. And basically what I do is I set up literally a Word document and I make a case for every single team or total that I like, and just bullet points so that when I'm doing my media, I can quickly refer to them and I have my, case built out like a lawyer would build out. So I go through my model. I try to understand why it spit out this number, why it's higher on this team than market, and I just fill all that stuff in. And I spend a lot of time doing that, but I really like the process, honestly, even though it's work. I'm at my desk. I just go through the games. But as part of that as well, I'm very cognizant of, okay, I'm going to be doing a lot of media today and giving out a lot of picks. I have to bet this stuff before I do.
Yep.
And I do my best, I honestly do, to not move the screen, not hit the screen at all. Try to bet stuff as quietly as possible. 9 times out of 10, we're able to accomplish that. Sometimes it leaks. And if it does, then I just don't give it out as a pick afterwards. I'm not like the guy that bets something at -3, it moves to -3.5, and then I go do all my content and give it out at -3.5. I don't do that. I'm very, I place a lot of importance on giving people actionable information and bets that I would make at that time or have made at the exact numbers that are there. But that creates like 2 to 3 every day on every Wednesday is like, again, I've used the word chaos a lot in this episode, but it's like, we got to bet this stuff. Like my partner's like, what are you giving out as best bets on forward progress? We got to bet this. And I will say also, before it comes up in the comments of this episode, I don't front run this stuff at all. Like I don't have someone waiting to click, oh, Rob's going to give out this bet. They're going to click it at Pinnacle for what. That happens organically, which I'm honestly, it's flattering that it does, that someone's willing to just, hit Pinnacle for 10K when I give out a play. Great. I mean, everyone can bet with their own money, but I'm very, very, I'm real when it comes to the betting stuff. So I try to get my fills for this, all the stuff I'm going to talk about that day. And if we're ready to go on it, we go on it. Then I go into the rounds of media. And then like by 8 o'clock at night, I'm just, you'll find me in a coma basically afterwards.
Do you find, so this is kind of a psychology, like, do you find it even when you've done something like had that type, like it's a little difficult to unplug? Like if I've had a really busy day where it's like boom, 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 even when I get home, it's still like, you still feel like you're a little bit in the ring. And it's, you can't just like flip that switch necessarily. And it's like, boom, like I might be a little burnt out, but my mind's still going. You know what I'm saying? Like physically, I might be feeling drained, but up in the up here, the gears are still churning with a lot of the, like, reviewing the segment. What do I got to do tomorrow? Is there any other stuff that, happen to go down, So it's definitely a little hard to gear down.
It's tough to turn it off because when I'm doing my content, like Forward Progress, I'm hosting, but it doesn't matter what content I'm doing. I'm always paying attention. The biggest pet peeve of mine is the guy who's doing content and he's like searching something else on his computer, or he's on his phone, doing some sort of chat. I hate that. I hate watching that, and I hate being on shows with people who do that. So I'm paying attention. That creates a problem, like especially Wednesdays. I'm doing content from 3 to 8, basically. I'm missing all the initial practice reports. Now, luckily, my partners are going to summarize all that for me in like a WhatsApp or Telegram chat, but I have to review that afterwards. And guess what? Like, I might get Wednesday during NFL season, we got a Forward Progress Telegram chat. All of our creators on Forward Progress. If I'm offline, so to speak, for 4 or 5 hours, I'm going to come back to like 200 messages in that group.
Yeah.
So I'm now catching up. I'm watching TV with my wife at night and, I'm on my phone, like trying to go through. I'm trying to balance things as much as possible, but there's only limited time. I just don't like to multitask. Like I think that when people multitask, they just don't do, like they do both things poorly at the end.
Yeah.
I like to move on from one thing to another, but it doesn't end on Wednesdays. Thursdays is easier again, because by that point we would have bet a lot of stuff that I would have bet on Wednesday already. Thursday morning I do physio every week because frankly, I mean, I'm like a 38-year-old man in like a 60-year-old's body. Like my back is shot. I play like 2 rounds of golf. I can't move. Like I need the physio every week. It's important. Take care of your body. But then the rest of the day, I basically have freedom until the Thursday Night Football live watch along that I do from my own home office. So between that, I'm on the computer, but I'm just kind of immersed in what's going on, right? Got an odd screen up in front of me, seeing what's moving. What can I bet for Thursday Night Football? All that stuff. I can work at my own pace, which is nice.
Yeah, and because I was going to ask you this, and it's good to just a lead in as you brought it up. This is where like I could never be a true 20 like all year round top down bettor of what you said right there, of like the guys that, to me, that is not it's funny because I used to, back in the day, and Spanky used to, sometimes we'd throw some barbs and stuff, and like the idea that was freedom from like not having to have a traditional job or anything. And it's like, no, if you're a top down guy, most of the actual, like, that's all they do, top down guys, you're in front of the screen like 8 to 12 hours a day, sometimes more depending on the day. Or if you have usually, I remember Harut and Drew, like they do almost like back and forth when they were first starting out, 12-hour shifts. One guy do 12, the other guy do the other 12. And so that was never we worked, this is years and years ago, but was like college basketball started. I was on a little bit of a work from home period, and I was like, all right, I'm going to actually like try to do some like top, and for when the screen was moving every morning for college basketball. And I knew that wasn't for me. Like I did it for a few weeks, and I was like, this is miserable. There's no way I could do this all day, every day, especially during the premium seasons. Like I could not be. So I have respect. I know people are like, yeah, steam chaser, top down. I have a little bit of respect for that, almost in the same of like the content realm of like people doing 4 or 5 hours of content is insane. Doing that every day to earn a living is, I don't know how people do it.
There's pros and cons to every approach. At this point in my betting career, I bet more top down than I ever have in my life because I'm in Ontario. We have a lot of sports books which we can bet into, which is nice. You still have your offshore markets, PPH as well, but there's lots of opportunity available. I like NBA season last year. I don't bet the NBA, but I could find literally 30 good bets that I could make in 15 minutes. Top-down approach to NBA props. And it could be at any time in the day. That's one of the advantages of top-down, by the way, as well. It's like I could just be at my desk for 20 minutes and I can rip a bunch of bets and I'm set and I can move on with the rest of the day and I have no fear of missing out at that point. Whereas if I'm originating, I'm kind of at my desk and I'm waiting for news and this and that. I see the allure to that method. I don't, and this is just personal for me, I don't find it like challenging, and that I like the idea of beating. I like the idea of handicapping and originating it and putting an effort to beat a sport. It's harder to do than ever, in my opinion, because there's so much more money on the early markets nowadays. But that appeals to me. With that said, I mean, I top down a bunch of NFL props. Like Thursday, the hour before my live watch-alongs, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, I'm top betting. I probably will end up with, like, I'm not exaggerating, 30 to 40 player props in that time. And then I go on air and I give my actual opinions, stuff that I've run on my own model. But yeah, because I can't give those out on air. Can't be like, oh, just go here, play that, go here. It doesn't work. But yeah, I don't know. It's it's definitely more work than people let. Like, it was very, these people were diminished for a long time, right? You're a steam chaser, this and that. And I get it because you're piggybacking off of other people's work. But there is an art to it as well.
Yeah, there's definitely an art form to it, and it's a grind. Like it's not a, what's that stupid saying, hard way to earn an easy living or whatever you want to call it, like that. I mean, yes, you can make some real good money doing it, but I agree with you from the standpoint of that was not ever appealing to me of like how I wanted to spend my day. It's right now, it's probably the least amount of top down that I've ever done. There's probably only even a little bit on Saturdays that I'll do, but some of that is it took a lot of years to find good people to help get their stuff, to move good stuff. So I have the confidence now where I'm moving for a lot of talented people that win, people that share, and we've built up relationships over the years where I don't need to be, during a lot of times during, when I was working from home, like I would just have it up. Now it kind of allowed me some additional freedom to not have to do that to earn or feel like I have to do that to earn, additional sources or get in front of numbers or something like that. So
yeah,
it's a little different.
It's different. I will say it has gotten me into sport. Like I haven't been an NBA fan in, I don't know, since the Raptors won the NBA title. But like I'm back into it now. College football, man. I'm betting player props in college football. I'm turning on these random games, like rooting for a rushing touchdown from the court. It's fun. Like it's fun to have. It's fun to win at sports betting, but it's also fun to like accumulate good positions and then be able to cheer for them. In my opinion, that's very well put. I hate to give you that credit, but there is a real like fun and joy and feeling like you're I don't know, maybe like an ego boost of like accumulating good positions and beating people to lines or getting like there's something there where it's like even if the result on the back end maybe isn't going to be in your favor some days, that, but like man, we got a great portfolio built today, or like man, I like crushed those lines this week. So yeah, there's definitely an enjoyment to that. Sometimes even more so than like I don't watch. This is where we're both football guys, like even though you watch a little bit more NFL, I watch a little bit more college. Are you during football season watching any other sport? I will occasionally watch a hockey game, but because I also bet hockey heavily.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And I want to be in tune with the sport, but no, like it's always football is number one. Even though I bet more on hockey, football is number one, even as that's going on, because I have such an obsession with the sport relative to hockey.
Yeah, no, I'm with you because like even if I bet some, move some NHL as well, move some, other stuff that's going on in the middle of the
whose NHL are you moving? It can't be good. Let's be real.
Oh, it's
good.
It's I can't believe you don't know this.
I'm looking for some crossing partners for this year, so we might have to talk afterwards.
But I mean, people know my stance on college basketball or like like I'm not gonna watch that stuff. I don't really, I'll tune in for some like I'm like what the kids call a casual with like NBA playoffs. Watch a few games and that. If there's maybe if I'll see what positions I have. If there's like a third period NHL, maybe I'll throw it on ESPN Plus or something but that's super rare. That's not to be like the spanky take of like I don't want to like to me the time is pretty limited in this type of year, and I'm going to spend it watching the sport that I'm actually like get the most enjoyment out of.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think it has something to do with age for sure, because when I look at I don't know, I'll just use this as an example, but like these Book It guys, the Book It crew, I should say nowadays, right? Like they have an obsession with all sports, like everything. Yes. Yeah, we're betting baseball, this and that. Like they're going to, and when I was in my like early to mid 20s, so did I. Like if you go back to my tweets when Twitter launched, I don't feel that way anymore. Like I just don't. Other things are more important to me in life than keeping up with like I used to watch SportsCenter first thing every morning, every day. And I would probably watch it twice, even though it was the exact same show the second time around. Like I had that type of obsession. I don't anymore. Now I value other things. And that's why I value my Friday mornings, because in NFL season, Fridays are a very important day, but it's the final injury reports on Friday afternoon that I'm waiting to come out. And those happen like mid-afternoon to early evening. But outside of that, I have Friday mornings to honestly do nothing. Could go golfing, could sleep in, could do whatever the hell I want to do. Sometimes I'll watch like a Netflix show that I want to catch up on or something. But Fridays to me is very lightweight. Afternoon, chaos. Again, injury report coming in, boom, boom. You got to be quick. This involves like communication with my team. If this guy's out, are we going on it at this price? There's a lot of, I guess, situations that we prepare for the Friday injury reports. And also, nowadays, like the most minuscule player that doesn't matter. I don't know if some people are just betting news in NFL that don't really numbers move off of the most random players sometimes, where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to bet back the other side because like this cannot be a meaningful impact. Or the backup is like, I actually think the backup at this position might actually be better than the starting left guard that's out for one team or something like that. So that's a fun Friday afternoon is fun. Processing information, having to react in real time. That's me in my element. It's probably my favorite time of the week. So Fridays for me is just a really great day. And then Friday night I can go out and get tanked because I got nothing to do on Saturday anyways.
Yeah, see, so Friday I try and take it because that's a calm before the storm, where my Saturday is going to be a hectic mess. So if I, usually after, I work from home Friday again, so don't have to be up and around. So I'll usually during the day, get whatever work commitments I need to, finish up for the week done. And then we'll have like kind of an earlier, fill run, kiosk casino run, and then I try and schedule like a massage or something for Friday afternoon, or that I might do like a float tank. I don't know if you ever heard of those where like you're doing that. Yeah. Do something where I'm kind of trying to
I know what a float tank is, but immediately when you mentioned it, I thought of one of those like circus tanks where like I would throw a ball at like the target the dunk tank. That's what my first thought was, because I usually think of you as like a clown or something like that. But
I'm glad that's where I went to. We've actually had those have come into work for where the thing where like, we can dunk the director if you hate him, you spend $20 on balls and doing that. But yeah, the float tank would recommend if you like if you're kind of relaxed, do something relaxing, and then try and I don't know, I might go see my niece and nephew or something, or just do something a little bit outside of the realm on Friday afternoon, Friday evening, and that before Saturday starts.
Okay, so I do want to hear about your Saturday, because mine is very open. So Saturday, I tend to be hungover in the morning. I sleep in a little bit. I get up before college games start, 11 to 12. I'm betting, again, some top-down player props, not really doing much. The only other thing I have in my calendar for Saturdays is submit my circa millions and survivor picks by 4 p.m. To my guy, Vegas Maddie, footballcontest.com, if you need a proxy. But outside of that, it's just like a very leisurely day for me. If my wife wants to do something with her friends, that's great, because I can watch some college football in the afternoon. If not, okay, maybe we're going to do some errands around the house, or we're going to go to the farmer's market, or whatever the hell married couples with no kids do. A nice trip to Home Depot or something like that. But I got nothing going on. I imagine yours is just like completely opposite of that.
Yeah, no, it's usually first thing, wake up and try again. I'll try and do something physical just to get it out before, get out some of and I'm usually, you wake up and you get that instant, like my body always knows, like your mind and body know, like it's Saturday. So I'm on like, probably how you feel Sunday morning, of like, like you get out of bed and it's like your eyes are like wide open. It's like, oh yeah, I gotta, like especially in the routine, like that day you do it so many weeks in a row. It's almost like, subconsciously your body knows like, oh, I gotta be on it today. And so again, we'll do something physical first thing. Then right around, I'll call it 8 again. Usually there's that mid morning where you'll start seeing like this, different than the NFL, where there's still some action on Sunday mornings, but it's more like you're talking pennies of moves, like a few, like where something might move 5 or 10 cents which takes a tremendous amount of money. In college football, I'll use the Indiana FIU game last week as an example. That moved like 3.5, 4 points Saturday of day. So you'll see those type of moves on a Saturday, which you would never see in the NFL. Which has to be like, am I getting down in this position? Am I watching the screen in that? Also, I bet some FCS. Those lines on the FCS game don't usually get widely populated until Saturday. So then it's a mad scramble because I do move FCS for a number of guys, of trying to get like full positions on some of those games. Am I going to, is Joey Puppet Master going to try and manipulate some lines in some certain ways of going a certain way? Which side we want to, to be able to get down? Also, if they have like there's crossovers right now, so might be adding two positions. And then also looking at trying to look at college props as much as I can during the day. So there's really a mad scramble and it's almost like that's where there's no. I like to be routine orientated, and a lot of the other days have very specific. Saturday, that kind of goes out the window where I'm just trying to grab positions as I can, and helping fill stuff. And what time do I got? Sometimes I'll go down first thing in the morning, like wake up but a lot of times you don't know exactly when some of this stuff is going to drop or going to move in that. So got to be a little dynamic in terms of, I'll give you an example. There's a few Saturdays where there's been lines like in the past that have just been absolute hammers, and I just got to grab the bag and run out the door and almost drop everything that I'm doing. And like,
you gotta grab the duffel bag full of 5K to give to all the runners.
The
right?
old, the Simon Hunter bag stash full of, and just got to go and, get down what I can on that. So, and that usually lasts. Also do some like once noon actually starts, then it's a little bit, and then I'm monitoring the games if I want to, because I'll bet some second halves too. There's, some that. So it's usually then locked in from noon until what I would say the last set of games kick off. Of like, I try and give myself that once like the 7-8 o'clock slate kicks off. That's when I got to kind of like take a step back and just kind of like watch. Like, I'm not going to do as much of the live trading or the second halves or any of that for that, because I'm already like running on like, it's funny, me and Powers were doing the halftime and that was around like 5. We're going to do the noon game this week, but we did it for the 3:30 game. So that was around like 5 o'clock
Miami
my time.
And Florida.
Yeah, we were already starting. You could just tell the overall energy level for both of us was like a lot lower than it normally is. And then because by 7-8 o'clock, then I'm like, I'm running on E. So I got to start peel it back. And then I'm just going to like casually watch maybe a night game or two on Saturday, and do a little review of kind of what, maybe some earlier stuff or kind of what went, and then do the full review Sunday morning. But yeah, Saturdays is nuts. I wanted to ask you, so figures is kind of a common thing in the industry. Do you do your own for the week? Do you do any other pieces? Kind of when do you do them?
I don't do figures at all. So I have two things that go on. So I work with a betting partner based in Chicago, and he handles all of the figures for our own betting. Anything that we bet, he logs immediately using a software that he developed himself. Everything is automated there. If the bet wins or loses, it's automatically pulled in. We know figures off that. Accounts that I don't use and I give out to maybe some mutual friends of ours, as an example, they would just do the figures for me. So I thank God, because figures are like, people don't understand when you have hundreds of accounts. Doing Monday figures could literally take the whole day for some people. And then, like we said off the top, you have other people betting into the accounts, maybe 50-50 split with nightmare. So thank God I do not have to do that, because I'm already jam-packed as it is, trying to balance the content with the betting. I don't turn off. Like, as much as I might say, oh yeah, I have Friday mornings available to me or whatever. No. Like, the phone is there. It's always buzzing. I'm not ever turned off. If I'm on the golf course, I have to check it after every hole. I get the tunes alert, like, play coming in 10 minutes. And I'm like, all right, like, mad scramble. What's this guy going to release? And like, that happens so regularly. So never turned off. But what's interesting, actually, I through this whole thing, like, neither me or you really does much live. You mentioned the second halves. I do like some NFL second halves, but it's just piggybacking off someone else. I think it's just like, once those games start, I've worked like so much that I just need to watch the game, man. I just need to watch the game.
Because you can, as you're saying, you can't. Well, first off, on the figure, like, I had to, honestly, I used to do all my own for everybody, for every account, and honestly, like, I would call it maybe a year or two, I just had to start outsourcing to like for guys that like guys I'm moving for, and I'd be like, man, like I'm sorry, like I need you to start keeping the field. I hate to be, I hate to be like most people are good with it, and that or guys that I'm like just and a lot of the stuff I can get like a weekly report or any of that for the guys that I'm working with and that, but yeah, I used to do personal figures for every account and it's just I couldn't. As you're saying, that it was so much, it was a lot of my Sunday night. It was bleeding into Monday that I just couldn't couldn't handle anymore. So I kind of outsourced most of that. But I know for a lot of people that that's part of the grind. And as you're saying, it's almost like, there's two kinds. It's funny because there's like, rarely is someone an originator and a frequent live bettor, or a mover or a top down guy and a frequent live bettor.
Only if you're Steve Fezzik. Steve Fezzik. You're leaving money on the table, Knish, if you're not doing all these
apparently
things.
He's
working 28-hour days, apparently. I don't know. The guy doesn't go to sleep.
I don't know many people that, like, I knew some people that specifically do live.
Yeah.
But rarely is it like someone that does live and does a lot of origination or a lot of top down. Like it's almost, you only have so much mental capacity.
I think if I was like 25 and single, no girlfriend, I would do everything probably because I don't know. To each their own. Listen, I mean, everyone has their own betting style. I really enjoy what I do. I don't enjoy it when I lose. I'll be very, very frank about that. The Sundays where like the early slate does not go your way, do not talk to me for the next 3 hours. I don't want that. That is one of the most challenging things I have to do, Knish.
Yeah.
Is when you have like a piss poor Sunday, this is me specifically, and then I got to go on air on Sunday night at 8:00 and relive these games all over again. Like it's just, that is the most it's not the losing. It's the losing, but then having to relive the losing again. But that is really my only complaint about the week. I know it's really busy, but once it kicks into gear, fuck, I love football season, man.
I agree. I'm with you. And I'm trying to structure this question where it doesn't sound arrogant and aloof. Did you, before I had a lot of fiscal success with betting, and did you find that changed how much you cared about the swings, or you just generally like were able to unplug from the results? Because that, I would say, especially in the last few years where I've been fortunate enough to be in a comfortable position in that financially, it's allowed me to be less neurotic with the down. And again, I don't like to lose, I'm saying lose, especially if I know, but if I know the stuff is good in general and it's going to win long term, a losing day or a losing week does not get to me like it once did, because it used to really bother me. And I would be, some people that have known me for years, I was not afraid to let people know if their stuff was not, or was not up to par, or that I didn't think they were putting in enough effort. Does that, where do you stand on that?
I think it's the manner in which I lose. So if I'm being real here, there's probably 2 or 3 times a year where I will really say to myself out loud, like, why do I do this? Like, it's usually on a day where, you have 4 1:00 games, big bets, and they just all lose, and they've all lost on like in the most devastating fashion. And the NFL is weird in that it's just like, I obviously have had many sweat-free wins in my life, but it feels like there never is. Like I can't describe it. Like you could take a team -3 and they're up 24-0 at the half, and in my head I'm thinking about all the ways I can possibly lose this bet, because I've bet the NFL a million times before. It's painful. So no, I'll be honest. Like I still struggle with the losing days, no matter what. It's hard. And again, because my job and like my betting business is tied to this, it challenging.
Yep. No, I'm with you. I think that's part of the reason, especially that I never wanted this to be my only source of income, was the fact that I don't know if I would have been able to handle like the mental side of it, as either could my dog, the mental side of it as well, if I didn't have that like initial, like kind of that, what I call like the safety income, where maybe the financial like aspect of having a salary now doesn't impact my life so much. But for a lot of years, having that security, one, allowed me to take more risk with like the bankroll, and two, just it kind of had that like, if I had a bad week, it was like, well, I still got a paycheck coming in. It's not, it wasn't that everything all or nothing.
It's that's part of it too. It's definitely different when you're not earning anything else, and betting is your livelihood, which it is for me. Now, like, I'm not betting outside of my means or whatever, but you have a terrible NFL Sunday, that hurts no matter what. And I think part of it too is that there's just so many weeks in the season. Like there's 18 regular season weeks, and you lose a couple in a row and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? Like I've wasted so much of the season already. I don't know. I don't know that I will ever get over that. Some people are better with it. Some people is like they move on, and my process doesn't ever really change. It's just like, okay, we're on to the next week, but I might be in a bad mood to start the week. Let's just put it that way.
Yep, I agree. I mean, it's, again, losing sucks no matter what it is. Yeah. But I found myself to be able to detach from it a little bit more as the years have went on, where it used to really claw at me if we'd had it, and especially if like I know this is good session of where just being able to detach from the results a little bit, I think has been healthier in general, not just from it almost like gives you a little bit more clarity too, just on your overall general perception and be able to recap something where, again, like to hit the books when we have it, like we're, our CLV where, was looking, then we didn't have a losing week. It's like, if I
saw Powers in week one, like he was declaring losses in the first quarter.
That's what I'm saying, right? Like he's still, BP, he sweats it harder than I thought he did. Like when we were jumping on the live show on Saturday, I seen him in the Zach. I was talking to Zach. I was like, it looks like he's been in the sauna for 2 hours. He's like his hat's halfway off. He's got his hair's wet. I was like, what the hell's wrong with this guy? So yeah, I think BP has not reached this point yet. That's that. But I love him for it because he is all in.
Yeah. All right. Thank you to Kyle for the show suggestion. Hopefully people liked it out there. You can always leave show suggestions down in the comments below.
And if it sucked, Kyle, it's all on him.
Well,
that's right. Yeah, people don't
have
like
his email
address.
Then. Yeah, I have his email address. I don't know I guess we could just subscribe him to like a bunch of spam or something like that.
Yeah.
Ever do that to your friends back in the day? I certainly have. People have done that to me before. A lot of the Seaville guys out there. I had a good laugh once they found out what my email address was. But smash that like button down below. Thank you to everyone. We're over 10K subs here on Circles Off. Don't stop there, though. We have lofty goals. We want as many subs as possible. If you're not subbed here on Circles Off, make sure you do so. Check out our college football division of the Hammer. Hit the books with Uncle K, Joey Knish. Get them to 5K subs. They're almost there as well. Forward Progress, our NFL division. We're starting up this week. Tons of great content. Make sure you're subbed there as well. Thank you, everyone who tuned in. This has been Circles Off, episode number 170. Peace out.